Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to America First Insight Unfiltered. We have a great lineup here as we are discussing 3 days after Donald J. Trump has been reinaugurated and is our 47th president. What a wonderful time. Am I right?
Yes. It's all been good.
It's all been good. We have a billion things to discuss. So I guess first we'll start with the actual inauguration itself. I thought it was pretty nice. I enjoyed it. I liked his speech, and I liked the inaugural parade and everything.
Yeah, I think, I was having questions about it being indoors because it was really cold and I could go outside. But honestly, I might like it better that way.
Yeah, it was
I don't
it
know.
was nice, and I'm pretty sure they moved indoors for security reasons. I just don't
Yeah.
think they wanted to alarm everyone. But being inside the I forget the name of the room, but being inside there, it was nice. I think the last president to be inaugurated like that was
Reagan.
Reagan's second term, I
Yep,
think.
it was Reagan.
So, there you go. Everyone's saying bring back Reagan style politics. There you go. Trump just did it. Now we can move past that.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, the inauguration was pretty good, though. I think his speech was excellent. It did talk with the issues that matter to people. It wasn't just some generic talking points. It's like, no, it's actual things that he's going to do. And I think it was really good. I think he had a very busy and impactful day. I mean, he had, 5 speeches, 3 balls? I mean, he was at
yeah,
the White
5 speeches,
House.
3 balls. He had the inaugural parade. He then had to go go do the first dance with the first lady or whatever. It was a very busy day, and then he went ahead, signed executive orders. He had a billion things to do, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean,
So
is this the most impactful first day in history for president? For
it,
first
it
day.
it's probably up there. I mean, beautiful segue into the executive orders. So many of those executive orders were just telling uh, various branches of the executive branch to, hey, start doing your job. Especially all the immigration ones. A lot of them were simply, hey, you can go arrest people. That's like your job. Unlike what Biden was allowing, where Biden was like, don't arrest people.
Yeah, I mean,
Your job is here to sit here and do nothing.
I think it was like a total 45 executive orders. It was 40s for sure. And it
It
was
was
like,
in the 40s.
yeah. And like you said, a bunch of it was just stuff like, oh yeah, do your job, which is just the fact he had to say that. She should tell everyone how the last 4 years have been. It's like, oh yeah, we have departments that have done nothing for 4 years except collect a paycheck. But now
Yeah.
they're actually doing their job for once, which is a good
Yeah.
thing.
No, 100%. Especially when it comes to the crime aspect of many of those branches. Like I said, ICE was basically told not to do its job during the Biden administration. So now that they're actually doing it, you should hopefully see a lot of places get safer relatively quickly. I know today, we're recording this on the 23rd. I know today there were news clips of ICE agents arresting people in like Boston and other cities, and those seem pretty targeted rates. I would assume they're right now in the phase of just getting like the most obvious, easy to get criminal illegals to get first, the ones with like longer records.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the
In my
violent people.
opinion,
It's the violent people first, it looks like.
yeah, that's likely what's going to happen. It's going to ramp up. I mean, for day one, already finding people, that's pretty good.
Well, it just shows you that they knew who these people were, but they just did nothing for 4 years and let these people
Yeah.
run free.
Yeah, I mean, you also had Trump shutting down the CPB One app within like 40 minutes of him being inaugurated. That app was the one that the debate moderator said didn't exist, and I remember I was so upset about that. That app basically allowed people to schedule and apply for asylum on the Mexican side and just kind of walk into America.
And you can't do anything
Oh.
about it.
Yeah, and that app was shut down within like 40 minutes of him being inaugurated, which meant all the people still on the Mexican side of the border couldn't apply, couldn't get in. He is suspending the United States Refugee Assistance Program. The most immediate effect of that was there was thousands of Afghan refugees who were scheduled to come here to America on plane, and all their flights were instantly canceled. And I think it's a 90-day suspension at a minimum, and that's allowing the all the departments related to foreign stuff to figure out which refugees align with national interests, which in my opinion sounds like a lot less will be getting through,
Yeah,
which
it'd be
I'm
a
all
lot
for.
less. I mean, this is just like, this was within like 20 minutes, by the way, of being inaugurated. He literally went like and signed some stuff right away. And he fired the TSA lady. He fired the National Guard person. Just like within minutes, it's like all these people are gone and they're actually doing their jobs.
Yeah, thousands of DEI related bureaucrats no longer have a job. That's also excellent. It's just an amazing amount of stuff. He also had one executive order that was undoing like 60 to 70 of Biden's executive orders, and wow, a lot of those executive orders were some of the really bad stuff. A lot of it was expanding power through COVID, like using COVID as an excuse to expand power. So I'm just trying to scroll through this real quick.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a lot of it open borders as well, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, you had a bunch of people like say, "Oh, well, he got rid of lowered prices for medicine. Your prescription drugs would go down by go up 150%." It's like that's not what the executive order did. It just they have nice names to them, but they make it's not actually what it does. And even then, it's like, didn't Biden literally revoke Trump's same executive order on prescription drugs?
Yes, Trump implemented the $35 insulin cap. I know this for an example. He implemented it on his way out of office. Biden undid it and then re-implemented it with garbage added to it. So Trump is probably undoing it so he can re-implement it without the garbage. That's pretty funny. So yeah, no, I mean it's so many orders. It was a complete flurry of executive orders that it's obvious that the people behind Trump and behind these executive orders have been plotting this out for a very, very long time. They've just been waiting for the time that they can finally do stuff, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time. They've been probably planning this for 4 years. Like, unironically, they've been planning this for 4 years. Every single executive order. And there's more. Yeah. It's not just like a couple. It's 45. He had a bunch of pardons, which that's not a big deal. He pardoned and commuted every single January 6er. Every single one of them.
Yes.
They're in prison right now.
Yes. All of them. Blanket. I read a report somewhere that it was J.D. Vance who really pushed for it to be blanket pardons and commutes, which is excellent.
Yeah. I mean, it's just thankfully we got all of them out. Now, I was wondering if he was going to actually commute everyone's sentences, but he did. It sounded like it was just a blank thing. They were like, screw it. We're done with it. Just pardon everyone. Call it a day.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk as it was coming close to him being inaugurated, whether it would just be partial or if it would be for everyone, or what the actual numbers were going to end up being. But it ended up being everyone, and the few like 10-ish people who were caught doing more serious stuff, they were commuted instead.
Yeah, which I think is a fair compromise.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the end result is that a lot of those people were horribly treated by the Biden administration, by DC judges and all that, and none of them should have ever had even a trial in DC. It was so obvious what the end results would have been. So, you know, they all had some form of their civil rights violated, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, like, every single one of them, none of them got a fair trial. For them, it was you're
not in DC. Good luck.
You're guilty, and you can't prove your innocence. That's what happened. You're not even like guilty before proven innocent. It's no, you're guilty. You're just guilty without any time to prove yourself.
Lock you up. Good luck.
Yeah.
He's ending federal censorship. He is forcing federal agents to return to in-person work, which is good. You know, I'm blessed that I can work from home, but let's be real, working from home slacks off your productivity most of the time. And if my tax dollars are going to pay for a federal agent to work, I want the most out of it, you know?
And of course, there was national emergencies. A couple national emergencies. Southern border energy.
Yes, which those are both huge. Our really under talked about, but maybe because it's kind of too abstract for most people to kind of realize it, was how much of the strategic oil reserves that Biden drained from this country. We have like no spare oil really. And that's a big reason prices went up for a while. Is it's kind of nerve-wracking that a country like us doesn't have a reserve of oil that we would need.
Yeah, and like he used it completely during the midterm to save his party. That's what he did use it for. He didn't use it for a national emergency.
That's why gas prices suddenly went down a little bit before the actual midterms.
He drained a strategic reserves just to barely do better in the House and Senate. I mean, that should tell you everything. They could have actually increased energy production, but no, they had to increase the amount of. They just gave up the strategic reserves for nothing, no reason.
Yeah,
just buy.
Yeah. There was also him implementing regulatory freezes and hiring freezes. Those were both good calls, especially the regulatory freeze. There was Doge. There's the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accords and from the World Health Organization.
Which, speaking of Doge, it has an interesting a provision in it. Do you know about this? Like it goes till July 4th of 2026, and then it's gone.
Yes, I did hear that. That sounds like he expects it to just kind of be a one-hit wonder, which I'm fine with. I think he mentioned it in speeches before that he wants Doge to give like a birthday gift to America of saving a bunch of money.
This is just the one thing, like, because I think the whole idea is at this point when we do what Doge does and like they fix everything, theoretically, we might not need them anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the goal.
Yeah, definitely. I think their main goal is to find useless stuff and pull the funding for it, and hopefully that means we won't have useless stuff. So what's the point of Doge? At that point, all they can do is go, well, if we pay down more of the, all the loans and all the money we owe, we'll save more money. Like everyone already knows that type of stuff.
Yeah, it already seems like they're saving a bunch of money. Like the national debt clock has like a Doge counter, I guess. Like how much money they've saved us already.
Yeah,
it's like 14 billion, I think now.
Yeah, no, it's good. I guess we can quickly go into a side tangent about this. Vivek is out of Doge.
Good.
And so it'll probably be Elon and other, hopefully not just other tech bros, but other people who are good with numbers. But yeah, Vivek's out, and he's almost certainly going to go run for governor of Ohio.
And it sounds like he was forced out, basically, over the H-1B visa stuff. That's what it sounds like. He was forced out of there.
Which makes me feel good that our side won the H-1B visa discussion.
Well, even Musk, like, kind of bent the knee to it. Like, you notice Musk does not talk about it now. Like, oh yeah. He's said nothing about it. What I think happened was Vivek, he didn't refuse to back down for a minute. He said some other stuff about, like, American culture being bad. I mean, you can go read the tweets. It's not good. And I think what happened was Trump was like, okay, get out of here, run for governor, or we're going to have to fire you.
Yeah, that's what I think happened. Things amicable. Yeah, no, I read about that. That's what it sounds like, that he pushed someone's buttons too much in the White House sphere that's way closer, or Trump's himself, And I don't know how much Trump was paying attention to that type of stuff, because it was like Christmas or whatever. But then again, he only did just leave, so it might have finally been brought up, Susan Wiles or Stephen Miller bringing him an envelope and saying, hey, get rid of Vivek.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
But of all the executive orders, I think there's one that kind of takes a cake for the biggest one. The birthright citizenship.
Yes, that one is awesome. Is it going to pass courts? I have no idea.
Already failed in Washington. They already struck it down.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before everything kind of gets filtered out. So that executive order, for those of you who don't know, if you are born on any form of U.S. soil, congratulations, you get to be a U.S. citizen. A lot of countries do not have that provision. You have to have at least one parent who is already a citizen to be given citizenship. You can either get citizenship through blood or by being born on soil. America does both. That's how I have my citizenship, is via only blood. So what Trump basically did was say, hey, departments do not issue passports to anyone who was born here but does not have a U.S. Citizen parent. And the main argument, so this basically flies directly in violation of the current interpretation of the 14th Amendment, which the part of the 14th Amendment that matters was a section of it in which the people at the time wanted to ensure that the now freed black slaves would be granted citizenship. So that's why there was a thing inserted there saying if you are under the jurisdiction of America and were born here, you get to be a citizen. The argument that Trump and people who are anti-birthright citizenship, such as myself, will be arguing is that the word jurisdiction back then meant your complete and total loyalty was to the United States. And thus, illegals or even people on visas are not under our total jurisdiction. Thus, the amendment does not apply to them. Now, that's a tricky legal theory, I think, for judges to swallow, but you never know. But that definitely is one of the bigger and more impactful executive orders we'll be hearing.
It's definitely going to the Supreme Court. I don't see how it doesn't. This is such a big issue that unless Roberts and them just decide, you know what, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to kick the can on the road, which is possible because it is Roberts, but I do think that it's going to hit the Supreme Court this year. Now, will they actually rule in favor of Trump? I don't know.
Yeah, because it's tough to say. You have Kavanaugh, ACB, and Roberts, all who might not agree with that interpretation, but also, and a really big factor helping Trump is the fact that the guy who actually wrote the amendment said its intent. And that was the intent I was saying with that version of the word jurisdiction. So that's pretty helpful for some of those judges who also look at the intent of the words in order to sway them, but we will have to see. That's definitely a huge executive order.
I mean, you could see maybe like they somehow get like a half-assed decision where it's like, oh, he could do this, but we're not going to actually say it, which is that's
there
really
could
Roberts.
Be that. There also could be just they could also agree with Trump, but say people on visas are under our jurisdiction, but you never know.
Yeah,
So
I have a feeling to be like half-assed. It's not going to really, they're not really going to say no, but they're not going to really say like, oh yeah, we agree with Trump on everything 100%. It'd be half-assed. That's my take.
I mean, we have such a big SCOTUS term coming up. Probably have a few parts of the podcast eventually.
Well, I mean, you got the Section 2 being challenged. I mean, you got now the birthright citizenship going back to the Supreme Court more than likely. Yeah, it's going to be a very, very impactful year. And now you got maybe like Alito and them retiring. A lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, there'll be a lot. Other executive orders were allowing him, it's easier to fire insubordinate federal employees. He revoked the security clearance of 51 intelligence officials who lied about the Hunter laptop all the way back in 2020.
And the funniest one is he specifically wrote an executive order revoking Bolton's security detail or his security clearance.
Yep, security clearance and
or intel. I think it's intel.
It's whatever. We get the point.
Yeah, just like Trump did that, just like an FU. It's like, oh yeah, bye. Your clearance is gone. Adios.
Yeah, another big one is, like I said, the refugee admissions program being halted. He also is restoring the federal government to do death penalties.
Good.
Another slept-on one, in my opinion, was the one where he has ordered federal buildings to basically look good. You know, we're not just going to make glass cubes. So that one's nice. I like that one.
Classical architecture, not this crap. Not like you said, not the freaking cubes.
Yeah, not just glass cubes that are just eyesores. That one make cities look nice, you know. Then maybe I'll move back to one.
Well, I mean, like, just to me, it's like you make the cities look nice. People are gonna want to live there. They'd be more happy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna live in a concrete jungle, might as well have it look nice. The gargoyles, Art Deco, whatever it needs to be. Just not the modern glass box everywhere. There was also the one where he revoked America's agreement to the global tax deal. I love that one. A lot of FUs to like world organizations in his first couple days, which I also love.
Yeah, the World Health Organization's gone. He basically told the UN to go F themselves. He's telling everyone to just go away at this point.
Yeah, he's telling everyone America's here, America's in charge of the world, and we're gonna do what we want. You know, we're sick and tired of everyone. There was also the just anyone wanting to remain or enter America. He increased the vetting and the screening for them, also via executive order. He gave an America First policy directive for Rubio, which Rubio is currently in or en route to Panama right now as we're speaking.
That's interesting. That's his first thing, Panama.
Yeah.
That tells me Trump is actually serious about that.
Yeah, about seizing the canal. You know, and if Rubio's next stop is Greenland or Denmark, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, like, you gotta settle that. I mean, the whole Panama Canal situation, I didn't realize it was that bad. Where China basically owned it, and like, yeah, they're taxing the crap out of our boats. It's like, that was never the intention of giving Panama their canal back. It's ours.
Yeah. So we should go back and seize it. He of course ended all the federal DEI stuff, which is great. He also affirmed that the federal government only recognizes two genders, and they are from now on to be known as two sexes only. That one was good. So the way that one's working is obviously only male and female, and the federal government will only recognize documents that say male and female, and it must be your sex, not your gender. Federal government doesn't acknowledge gender as a thing that exists anymore, really.
Good.
Which is good. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I love this. These first days have been truly fantastic. It's nice to have a White House that works, you know?
Yeah, not like, oh yeah, we're not questioning if Trump's alive. It's not like Joe where it's like, yeah, we don't know where he is. He hasn't been in public for 15 weeks. He might be dead right now. It's like, that was every day with him. You didn't know.
You didn't know. And if he did pop up, he showed up and went, my fellow Americans, and then stared at a teleprompter and left, you know?
Yeah, it's an end of quote. So, I mean, that's Biden's presidency. Trump is, like, doing 10 speeches a day, going to ballrooms, like, 100 times, freaking dancing around with the sword. I mean, it's just, he's Trump, but actually a president at the same time. He's actually doing things. You know he's alive.
Yeah. Some of the other ones, I mean, like I said, there are so many. He also renamed Gulf of America and Mount McKinley to those names. I've never heard of this Gulf of Mexico. That's made it up.
Yeah, I've only heard it for my entire life. Now we're calling it Gulf of America. I love it.
I love that. He also fired, like you said, the Coast Guard general, who big diversity person. They wanted to bring diversity to the Coast Guard.
Yeah, how does that work? How did that go?
As soon as they were fired, suddenly the Coast Guard is deploying boats, personnel, and aircraft to the Gulf of America, the southwest borders, the Bahamas to prevent Haitians and Cubans from coming in, and other territories. You know, strange how instantly, you know, losers who don't do anything are fired. Our organizations can actually do something and protect Americans.
Well, that's always frustrating me. Like, even in Trump's first term, the problem with Trump's first term is I don't think he really took it that seriously then. Like, I don't know, like,
somewhat.
Like, I think he kind of just thought, oh, you know, I could trust these people, you know. It's like a business where you make a deal with them, they'll work with you. It's like, no, these people will not work with you. So you have to get rid of every single one of them. Because there are competent people in the government. They're just not promoted because their politics are different or whatever.
Yeah, you're 100% correct on that. You know, my dad was in the military, and he knows the amount of people who go up in the military is based on how much ass you kiss instead of how good of a guy you are or how good you are at anything.
Yeah,
you know, and that's how we end up with like General Milley, for example.
That's what happens in Afghanistan. I mean, it's just like, it's unbelievable that that's the government right now. But I think it's finally starting to change because we're getting competent people in the White House again. Hopefully that stays, and it's not just a one-time thing, but...
Hopefully. We also had the one flag rule being implemented, which is excellent. All federal buildings, consulars, everything, even I think foreign, they're only allowed to fly one flag, and that's the American flag. You know, the Biden administration had a real habit of putting either Black Lives Matter or the LGBT flag underneath the American flag.
Yeah, they put
countries.
Ambassadors like freaking in Iraq or whatever, and like Saudi Arabia. It's like that's a good idea. Let's put the pride flag in Saudi Arabia. What's the worst that can happen?
Have everyone laugh at us. It's so much stuff, right? All of this stuff and more. You know, he's fired people. He's labeled cartels as terrorists.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I do. There's so much. He got he fired more bad people, like Biden's prison bureau director. He's pardoned the Jan 6 people, but he also pardoned a bunch of pro-lifers just today who were arrested by the Biden administration.
Yeah, he pardoned Ross, how do you say his name? Albrecht?
I think so. The guy who created the Silk Road as well. He's done all this and more. That there is so much stuff.
Well,
it's hard to say this.
It was already a lot of stuff, but I think what happened today was kind of the ice on the cake for the first 3 days. There was a nuclear bomb that went off with Trump's executive order, which is, for those that don't know, they will declassify the JFK, RFK, and MLK files.
Yes. Finally, after what people have been begging for years.
And it happened right after Ratcliffe got confirmed, by the way, which,
yes.
Not trying to start a conspiracy thing, but like, that's odd. The guy that's in charge of CIA, that's when he decides, let's declassify everything. I wonder why. I wonder why.
We should hopefully have those documents public within the year.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be within... They have... The directors of those departments, they have like 40 days, 45 days to actually do their shit. And then they have to release it soon.
Yes, so the first 45 days after this order has been signed, directors of all the like intelligence agencies have to begin preparing a plan to give to Trump on declassifying it, which, you know, if they say the word plan, it's going to take forever. So I'd give it about a year probably for them to do whatever they need to do. Trump also revoked one of the older executive orders, 11246, signed by LBJ, which was the executive order that established affirmative action all the way back then.
And people are saying, oh, well, that's racist. It's like, no, that executive order that LBJ had, it literally said, yeah, we're going to hire based off of race and sex. Now, not skill, but based off of what race you are. What Trump said was, hey, we're going to go merit-based, right? It doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, African American, it doesn't matter. If you're good at your job, welcome to the White House. If you're not, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. And he's ordered all the departments to only focus on merit-based hiring. All of this has happened, and Trump is heavily approved, segueing to our next section, his approval rating.
I mean, this I think is the biggest surprise of all of this. I had a gut feeling Trump was going to be semi-popular. Just the simple fact he won the popular vote. It's clear he was delivered a mandate from the American people, and that people want to change. But it is extremely rare for a politician like Trump. We're not talking about just a random politician. This is Donald effing Trump. Yep. And his approval in his first term was at best like 45%. Right now,
his peak ever was 48, and that was right when COVID happened, and people were looking to him.
Yeah,
and then it immediately fell.
Yeah, so and of course, there's always like, you could argue they've always like missed Trump voters in those polls, which they did, but it's like he never had this high approval. Well, right now, there's basically every poll release has him at like plus 15.
Correct.
I mean, it's like, it's not just he's at like 42%, his disapproval is at 420 or something. No, he's like 53 or 56% approve right now.
Yes, on our very own approval rating polling aggregate, we have Trump at 54.25 approve and 38% disapprove. That's a margin of 16 points of approval.
That's just crazy.
Insane for Trump.
Was Biden ever that high?
Biden was that high for his like first like month of honeymoon because most
Yeah.
presidents. But here's the key difference: most presidents gain like a honeymoon period. The first few months, they're normally very popular. People are looking forward for change, right? But that's also because people don't really know what to expect. They don't know those presidents. You know, when Obama was very first elected, not a lot of people yeah, they had like a few months of campaigning to kind of get what he was about. But like you know, you can't really trust a politician
everyone
on
bought into the
campaigning,
Obama stuff. Everyone
right?
bought into the Obama crap, where it's like, yeah, he's the hope and change guy.
Yeah, people know who Trump is.
Yeah.
They know what to expect, and they're like, "Yep, nope, we love it. He's doing good."
And the thing
is, crazy.
His numbers might go up. His numbers might actually go up after this. I think Rasmussen, they're tracking daily, and they're saying, yeah, the daily tracker is going off the charts right now. It's like going up 5% each day right now. I'm not saying it's going to continue.
He started at 51 on the night after he was inaugurated. He currently sits at 56 already.
Jesus,
this is big numbers, and these are good pollsters too, right? So Rasmussen has him up plus 16. People's Pundit has him up 19. SoCal Strategies has him up 13. Insider Advantage has him up 17. You know, these are all C plus or C or above pollsters. The only pollster who's done an approval rating that is below 10 is Reuters with a plus 6.
It's always
They're
Reuters.
the only one. They
always will be. They're still plus 6.
They're still they're plus 6, man. This is insane. Trump is this popular. To put this in perspective, Obama for like 90% of his term, and remember, Obama's like a generational candidate that, you know, united the country. Like 90% of Obama's term, he was sitting at an approval of like 52, or of like 48 to 52, with his disapprove mirroring it. And Trump's at a 54 approve and a 38 disapprove. Right now, these numbers are better than 90% of Obama numbers. Will his approval go up? Probably. But if it even goes up just a little bit, or honestly can go up a lot, he will be on par with Obama, who was generational.
And that's the thing with like Trump, is like he's the supposedly divisive candidate that's unpopular, no one likes him. But right now, Trump's numbers in his first couple days, and like you said, this is not his first term, this is his second term in the White House. They are better than they ever been. And they're getting better. And I'm starting to wonder, how are people going to respond to the JFK files? Like, unironically, how are they going to respond to the declassification of that? Because they've been begging for, what, 50 years for it?
Yeah, no, they have been. And that's a big thing. Trump is rewarding a lot of his friends with a lot of the executive orders. And by friends, I mean like us, like normal Americans who voted for him. And each various group has had something they're ecstatic about, you know. Crypto people, the new regulations for banking today is telling banks, hey, you're going to start kind of working with crypto. You're allowed to, and that's really important for crypto people. Libertarians had Ross pardon, and they're going to be able to, I guess it counts as a libertarian win for the RFK files, MLK files, JFK files, you know. We're going to have gas go down with all the energy directives, you know, on every front. Everyone who is a political ally of Trump, every group is winning and being rewarded, and his most vile enemies, you know, the people who push for like DEI and stuff, are being punished, and that's just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, everything we've wanted, we've gotten everything, and then some. We've gotten everything and then some with Trump's presidency right now. And it's only going to continue. I mean, there's a chance that by the time this podcast goes up, the war in Ukraine might be over. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but like, there's a non-zero chance the war could end within the next 24 hours.
Yeah, no, it's amazing what's happening. And we're not even a weekend. We're 3 days in. We have so much more to look forward to.
4 years.
We have 4 years of this to look forward, and then hopefully 8 years with Vance being president twice. But we have 4 more years of an administration that has shown it cares, it's willing to go to work, and it's willing to use power. Something the GOP has been shellacking for decades on.
Yeah.
And you go.
And not trying to interrupt you, but we actually do got some breaking news, actually, right? I just got notified that Congressman Andy Ogles just proposed a constitutional amendment that would allow Trump to serve a third term.
Well, I don't know about that one, if that's going to pass anything.
I don't think it's going to pass anything, but Andy Ogles is proposing it, of Tennessee. So that's literally just that's breaking, like, now. So...
Oh, it is. I just got the notification. Wow. Yeah.
Listen, I love Trump. I don't think a third term's the best idea. Because you open the can of worms like Obama coming back or something crazy like that. And you don't want that happening.
I generally don't think Obama even wants to do politics anymore.
I don't think he does either. But
every year he cares less and less. He's like, whatever, man.
Yeah, but just like, you don't want to run the risk of, he comes back and like he wins.
You don't want Shapiro for 3 terms or whatever, or something. Yeah, I mean there's more and more happening. I think. What is this? The call between the president of El Salvador and Trump was recently released, I think, as well. I mean, like I said, Trump is actually working, unlike Biden. Stuff is happening, and it goes to show me that everyone behind Trump, all the people who have been working next to him, Miller, Wiles, everyone have been prepping for this moment. And I don't think they're going to let these next 4 years slip by. They know they have to do stuff. I don't even think they're going to let these next 2 years slip by while we have a trifecta. You already have the Lake and Riley Act has passed both the House and the Senate. That's going to Trump's desk probably today, maybe tomorrow. I'm not certain.
Yeah, you have a couple days.
You have Thune telling Democrats, like, we can either do this the hard way or the easy way, because the Democrats keep trying to delay all the various positions, all the various cabinet picks that Trump has and wants. This is a different GOP compared to what the Democrats have been dealing with.
Speaking of Thune, listen, it's still early. He could still screw us over somehow, but I trust him way more than I did ever with McConnell. It seems like Thune actually knows what he's doing. And it seems like, again, is that just because he knows he has to be loyal to Trump? Probably. But it seems like he understands, hey, we only won because of Trump, and, we should do whatever he wants us to do. And he's not messing around. He's trying to force through Trump's cabinet picks as quickly as possible. Now, is that going to happen because of Murkowski and them? I don't know. But at least he's trying. And that's the most you can ask for right now, when you still got people like McConnell and Murkowski there.
Yeah. I mean, those two... I mean, we have a couple issues, but I am very confident that Thune can at least whip and get 50 votes on everything we need. And you know what? I kind of don't care. We just need 50, Yeah, as long as Curtis and Mullen don't decide to become problems, we can get 50 on everything.
But imagine McConnell. You're in Kentucky. He has nothing to lose now, by the way. This is why I've always said, like, we should probably have... be able to, like, get rid of senators easier, like bring them back to the states, like recall them. Mm-hmm. But I know that that's never going to happen. But this is why I think you need recalls for these people. I mean, McConnell's in one of the most Trump states in the country, and he's voting against everything Trump wants to do. He's talking a game of, like, we need to stand for principles, and, like, he's basically implying he's going to vote against Trump on anything that actually matters. Well, why is he here? You can't get rid of him for 2 years?
Yeah,
he just sits there.
Yeah, she's gonna sit there and be annoying. I mean, we just had Murkowski today say she won't vote for a Trump Secretary of Defense nominee, and we're stuck with her for another 4 years. Although I think she'll retire. She's getting to that age that she's out or whatever.
Yeah, and Colin's the only one that has an excuse. The only one that has an actual excuse.
Yeah, I will allow anyone who's in a blue district, especially that blue, they're allowed to vote however they want. They're better than a Democrat as long as they know to keep their mouth shut on national politics when it comes to us pushing the overturn window. Collins is the perfect blue state or blue district person. I would want clones of Collins in well, we don't have that many Harris GOP people left anymore, but
Like Lawler and Bacon. That's about it.
yeah, that really is just about it. She does perfect because she kind of keeps quiet, and and in a lot of cases, if a vote would fail, she typically comes out and goes like,
Yeah,
I'll help the party.
Yeah, she words it perfectly. By the way, she always says she's like disappointed or there's trouble with it, and every time she says that, she's gonna vote yes on it. That's Murkowski or Collins, I should say. She knows how to word it perfectly and play the game because it's Maine, and that's what we need in Maine. Like, you're not gonna get anyone better there. I hate to say it to some people, but you're not getting better than Susan Collins in Maine. Even then, when we need a vote, it's not like with Murkowski where she screws us every time. Collins will support it. When we need a vote, she'll say yes to it.
Yeah, but only when it's like a last call. Otherwise, she'll do what she thinks needs to keep her job. I remember, you can probably go and Google this. She constantly flip-flopped on whether she would support Trump. It's kind of funny. After like 2020, she's like, no, I won't support him. And then there was a couple articles in 2022 where she's like, yeah, I'm opening up to the idea of supporting Trump again. And then 23, she's like, no, I wouldn't support Trump. She just keeps flip-flopping, but she words it in such ways where it's like, I think the MAGA people in Maine are happy with her, and the normal people, the other people, like normal suburban Republicans, are also happy with her, and independent Democrat, like independents who just love her for whatever reason, are also happy with her. She understands the game, and she's very good at it.
Yeah, but either way, like, we're only in day 3 of this presidency, and Trump has accomplished so much. But you know what the worst part about this is, honestly?
What?
How Democrats are now worried about prices of food and like groceries. Now they care about it.
Yes, they see, but that's the thing, and I would advise this to anyone listening. You don't have to engage with them, really, unless you just want to mess around, because all their arguments are in total, complete bad faith. They lost the election. They don't have a seat at the table. It's kind of like that, if they wanted to be in charge, they would have ran better and won an election, because now all they're going to do is try and get like the smallest like annoying wins, where they'll try and like rile you up by saying dumb stuff in that sense, prices haven't gone down in one day, they're going to try that for the next 4 years or whatever they can.
Yeah, it's like, no, and they're actually pushing the crap that, oh, this is Trump's fault, the price is so high. What?
Yeah.
Have you ignored the last 4 years? Did you say that Biden's economy was so good, but the millisecond that Trump's in charge is his fault?
But yeah, it's
what?
they are ridiculous. But
I think it's something else.
They're all just incompetent and losers. They're losers, complete total losers. That's what they are. You don't need to engage with them.
Yeah, gas prices and stuff didn't go down because Trump's policies have not been in effect.
It'll probably take 6 months to a year for it
that's
to
what we
really
said to people. Like, it's not going to be immediate. Like, I know Trump talks about like, oh yeah, everything's going to change on day 1, which it's kind of true. It's like, yeah, he's going to upend everything, but for it to actually like go into effect and like have an impact, it's probably going to be a half a year, I'm guessing. Or hell, maybe knowing Trump, it probably gets into effect in like 5 minutes. But I don't know. We shall see. We shall see.
No, definitely correct. It'll take time for a lot of these. The easiest ones that instantly have an effect are the ones where he can tell people start doing your job. Such as ICE and all the intelligence agencies. It's a lot easier just to tell them, hey, go do your job, because they can instantly start doing it. There's no hurdles, there's no plans, there's no building. It's just go do your job.
Yeah, do your job. And that's the thing, though. That might be the one thing that could actually, funny enough, reduce inflation a little bit. Because you deport these illegals that are taking up housing and whatever, it's going to free up space for actual Americans to buy places. So, like, I'm not saying it's going to fix inflation right away, but you could actually, funny enough, actually see an impact from it maybe right away. Like, oh yeah, places are they're cleaner, they're safer, but also there's places for people to buy. It's more affordable now because there's more places to buy from.
Yeah, and also without illegals, a lot of those menial jobs, sort of, that they kind of take up, those jobs will have their pay go up because there's less employees willing to do them.
Yeah,
Which
so it's a
can
win
be a
for
great
everybody.
thing, especially for like summer jobs. You have someone go, do whatever task, you might be able to make more money, which is nice for people.
Yeah,
Because
I think
that's what we like.
that's why hope kind of does happen, where it's like that's kind of optimistic thing where it's like, yeah, within a month everything goes down. It's not going to happen, but maybe it could. Maybe just immigration was that big of a deal that it was causing inflation. Which I'm not saying that's not everything, obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised it probably did cause a chunk of the inflation, especially when it comes to housing.
Definitely when it comes to housing, think of it this way, right? There are roughly anywhere from 10 to 20 million illegals, higher or lower, depending on which number you're using. Right?
That's what they admit to, by the way.
We'll go with the number 20, right? If there's 20 million illegals and you deport them all just magically somehow tomorrow, that is 20 million people's worth of housing that just opened up. You know what that would do to the housing prices? I might be able to afford a house tomorrow in that scenario.
Yeah. You could actually afford stuff then.
And that's such a big thing, everything, almost like half of America's issues come down to, if we deport illegals, the issue will get better. It'll heal.
And it's not just deport illegals, just deal with less immigration as a whole. I mean, we're already seeing like apprehension go way down, which is a good thing. Don't let people fool you. That's a good thing that no one's actually going to the border now. No one's showing up. So yeah, they're
afraid
people.
to. They are afraid to. And also, I can't wait to see this. I don't know if you remember, at some point, it was like 2023, in like June or July. Actually, our northern border with Canada, the Biden administration had like 10,000 apprehensions in like a couple days there. And it's a lot of Indians, mostly, who can't scam our visa system, but they can scam Canada's, because Canada has like really opened their door to anyone who wants to give them a little bit of money for signing up for a visa, and then they just walk into America basically. So I want to see what happens up north, if we get any reports or anything like that.
Trump is forcing them. I mean, he's implementing a 25% tariff on them. And he's basically saying, you're gonna do what we tell you to do, or you're done. Economically, you're screwed.
Yeah, so, I mean, there are so many of our quote allies who, realistically, they just belong to us. We just have to choose to take them because they're boxed in.
They owe their existence to us. Most of them. I mean, unironically,
yeah.
We fund them. Like they don't pay anything. We built their militaries. Look at NATO. We spent hundreds of billions of dollars on these countries. They pay nothing. They don't have to worry about defense. Nothing.
Yeah, no, we see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Europe made this decision a very long time ago, that they would rather have like security rather than freedom. And maybe it's a cultural thing, because that's even in their internal governments. And that works when the guy who's guaranteeing your security doesn't want anything from you. But I think Trump wants to at least get some fairness out of it. Like, for example, Denmark, right? Denmark basically doesn't have an army at this point. It's all been outsourced. And, well, guess what? It's outsourced to us. If we want something from Denmark, who are they going to turn to? They're not going to turn to the Russians. They're not going to turn to the Chinese. They're not even going to be able to turn to other Europeans, because guess what? All the other Europeans owe us stuff too.
Yeah, it's like
that was their decision they made decades ago, and now really receipts are here.
You could compete with America just militarily. You cannot compete with America. You think your EU, that they would not be able to compete. So it's like, what do you plan on doing? Send a strongly worded message like the person from Panama did? Okay, we'll send our Navy to you. Good luck.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do about it? Yeah, just send our Navy in the Panama Canal. What are they gonna do about it? They have nothing. No Navy. No nothing. They send strongly worded messages every day. Like, that's gonna do anything to us.
Yeah, they'll send them to the UN and they'll argue for 40 minutes, and then they'll be like, okay, we'll censor America. America, do you agree to like censor yourself? No.
Veto
Okay,
it.
well, we can't do anything. But last topics I want to do. Let's also quickly discuss how much money Trump has already gotten businessmen to invest into this country.
I believe the AI was 500 billion, I think.
AI's 500 billion. The Saudis, Saudi Arabia, for those of you who don't know, in case you don't watch a lot of sports, Saudi Arabia doesn't want to rely only on oil. So they've been investing in a lot of entertainment and a lot of like tourist stuff. They own so many like sports related stuff now because it's big bucks and it's not oil. So the Saudis think it's a much safer investment. And they're putting in what? You said $1 trillion they want to put in?
So Trump, I think they said 600 billion, but Trump wants $1 trillion.
Trump will get $1 trillion then.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now it's 600 billion. But that's not small change. That's $600 billion invested here.
That's going to help. It's going to help with jobs and everything. You have Samsung as well. You can go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So when Trump announced their tariffs on Mexico, the first thing Samsung did was went to Trump and said, "Hey, can we spend more money in America in our South Carolina plants?"
Yeah, you also have Stellantis. They're a huge auto manufacturer. They're putting another 1,500 jobs in Illinois, where they're going to build the brand new Durango, and they're going to go ahead and they're going to renew their investments in their Ohio and Indiana plants. You know, Trump's making sure the Rust Belt isn't going to rust anymore. And that's the thing. This is all happening because Trump is a businessman. He knows what the companies wants. They want to be able to sell to Americans, and they want low taxes and less they want less regulations. We can give it to all of them. In exchange, we're going to have American citizens have jobs and have good jobs. And we can get that. Everyone wins.
This is the ingenious Trump's economic policy, by the way. He knows what, like you said, he knows what these business people want. Serious ones, they want to make as much money as possible. That's just a fact. If you're a serious business person, you want to make money. And well, if you have the president of the United States saying, yeah, here's a 50% tariff, you're screwed. Your company is screwed because they're not going to be able to sell in America. So they're going to say, okay, if we make in America, we want lower taxes. We want less regulation. And Trump has announced that if you make stuff in America, he wants to cut your corporate tax rate to 15%.
Yeah, and like I said, then we win, more Americans having good high quality jobs means America will look better, everyone will act nicer. It's such a large win, and I would love my stuff to be all made in America.
Again.
And the more stuff that's made in America, the cheaper stuff made in America will be, but it can still retain the same quality, with market.
Actually, better. Well, let's be honest, it's better.
Well, better than China. Definitely better than China.
That's the biggest hope. It's like if we can make our prices to make stuff here way cheaper, and we get higher quality out of it. How can anyone be against that? Just honestly, okay, it might be slightly more than if you go to China, but if it's actually good stuff. Who cares? You're supporting Americans.
Exactly. I do try and buy American clothing now, and it's pretty pricey, but it's worth it. A lot of the stuff feels nicer and acts nicer. I want to say this right as we're about to end this. I was actually going to segue to the end real quick. Brand new breaking news: the Trump Department of Justice has halted all federal legal aid to illegal immigrants at immigration courts. I was unaware my tax dollars were paying for legal aid to illegal immigrants.
Wait, hold on. To illegals?
Yes.
I thought you said legal. Illegal?
Yes. Illegal immigrants were getting federal aid from the federal government, and that's been halted.
So our tax dollars were going to some random illegal immigrant that broke the law. They skipped through the line. They broke through the process. They broke the law. And so they could get citizenship? We paid for that.
It's really amazing. I think the biggest thing that Trump will be able to do is he's going to show how much of the last 4 years of decline were really just by choice of whatever Biden staffers there were in charge of it. It's always been by choice. It wasn't outside circumstances. It's been poor Democratic governance, and with the help of uniparties undermining any real conservative governments.
Yeah, like Bush.
It's all been choice. It's always been by choice that this country has had bad spots and bad times.
Yeah, it's like all
And
of
now
this
it
could have
won't.
been avoided. And now it's like, to think that the worst part is like, all Biden had to do was do nothing for 4 years. He just had to
Doing
sit back and
nothing
do
would have
nothing.
been better. Yep.
Yeah, if he would have said, the economy would have boomed. The economy was back in high gear because of Trump's policy, and he screwed it up. He made it worse. He made it way worse, and now it's going to take a while to recover. But this is Trump. He knows how to make an economy actually good. We saw this in his first term. So there is optimism. There's hope in the air that we can actually get a somewhat good economy again.
Look, I'm feeling good. I have such a good feeling that these next 4 years is going to be excellent, not just for me personally with AFI, but I think the country as a whole is really going to thrive, and then we're going to have JD Vance carry on that beautifulness for another 8 years, and then, you know what, we'll see what happens in that time period.
Hopefully at that point Democrats wake up and they stop
go back to like sane people. Yeah,
which they, I mean, like, I don't think Democrats have learned yet. I mean, it looks like they're tripling down.
I think they need JD Vance to be president for 8 years before they learn, because if you look at all polling, Harris is the front runner, and more importantly, it's not just Harris is the front runner. Very few voters are blaming Harris for the loss, which is amazing to me.
It was like, I know like Biden was unpopular, but Harris ran one of the worst campaigns in history. That's just a fact. Her campaign was awful.
Her campaign was specifically just for cat moms who are resist liberals on Facebook. That it was her number one demographic, and I don't even think that demographic swung left.
And she banked everything else on Zoomer women, and they swung right.
Yeah,
they swung like 10 points right.
Yeah, I mean, and let's not forget this. You know, that's why we wrote an article. Right when Harris joined in, I said this race was over. It's a race for the popular vote, because Harris's very first defining message when she became the candidate, the thing that would set the tone for her candidacy, what she cares about, what she focuses on, right? You know, for Trump in 2022, it was a lot about economics. It was about immigration and all that. Harris's very first, 3 weeks out of her 100 days as a candidate was, JD Vance is a weird guy.
I remember that well.
That is when that was such a sign where she shows how unserious and how little she cares.
The funniest thing is it blew up in their face when he had that stellar debate performance. I mean, they probably just made Vance the president because of that in 28. And that's the funniest thing about this.
Yeah,
because people had low expectations, but then he did that. It's like, wait, this guy's a vice president? Hell yeah, Vance 2028. So, I mean, that's the Harris campaign. They focus everything on that and abortion. And other crap people don't care about.
I mean, I don't know if you read that article, the New York Times article where they were following swing voters throughout the election.
Yep,
a bunch of them only voted for Vance. And a big reason was because they were like, hey, I thought Vance was terrible. But then I saw him at the debate and realized, you know, the Democrats were wrong about everything.
He was, and people realized, they looked at his story, they realized, oh wait, this guy's one of us. This guy grew up in dirt poor Ohio, like Appalachia. He grew up in shit. That's just truth.
Yeah.
He understands what people go through in that part of the country. So Vance, I think, you know, Harris made a big alpha. That was her biggest mistake, I think. Her second biggest mistake was, well, actually probably copying Trump. Anytime Trump said something, she said, oh yeah, I support no taxes on tips. Even though the IRS is going after people with tips. Yeah,
no, she was abysmal candidate, and the Democrats don't blame her, which I think is just a sign of how unserious their party is going to be acting for the next 4 years.
Well, I would say some. I think some Democrats, they're kind of realizing they effed up. But at this point, I mean, we see this in job approval for Trump. It's like 20% of Dems support Trump now.
Yeah. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this excellent episode, the inauguration episode and whatnot. What a fantastic 3 days it's been, and I look forward to the rest. You can, of course, catch our stuff here at www.americafirst.com. Check out our Twitter at AF_insight and other platforms. We probably use that handle. Really, you can go ahead and plug in your stuff.
Of course, follow me at Real Political Data on Twitter, at RealPData, the best way to follow me there. Of course, YouTube is Real American, daily content like usual, and yeah, I post every day. So if something crazy happens, you can probably expect to post something about it. So
Exactly. Instead of waiting until Friday for our combined reaction of it.
yeah.
All right, everyone, you have a wonderful day.
That's a wrap. Thanks for the ride. Catch you next time, same place, same vibe. We're signing off, but don't you stray. America's voice every day. Keep it real.